Hey guys, in my garage today I got this. It's a Yamaha XJ750 and the wiring is totally busted on it. Someone tried to hack it apart. I don't know what they did to it. You can see they cut the fuse box out. And I'm gonna rewire this whole thing from scratch. So take a look. They cut the fuse box out. They put a couple inline fuses in. We got wires over here just hanging loose. Got a lot of tape job. We got a whole lot of mess. It's really crappy. I mean, look at all this. So I don't know what someone did to this, but I'm assuming it's pretty crappy. And we're just gonna start from scratch. And I'm gonna just give this a simple wiring. I am going to just take this whole thing off. I mean, I might put a little speedometer on there or something, but I'm just gonna try to get this bike running because there's no way it's running right now. I have heard the starter turn over the motor because I hooked it directly up. I'll show you how you can do that. So if you get a bike, if you ever encounter a bike like this that's not currently running, if you jump straight on this goes to the starter cable here off the solenoid. If you jump straight to that and then ground the jumper cable, I ended up grounded up here somewhere, and it'll turn over the starter. You're hot wiring directly to the starter there. Make sure it's a neutral. But anyways, let me lower this down a bit here. This wiring's gotta go. It's really gotta go. This is bad news. I could possibly try to figure this out, but I mean, it's I think I got the wiring diagram over here. It's totally ridiculous. These bikes in the 80s, they went insane with the wiring. Oops, dropping stuff. They went completely insane with the wiring here. And alright guys, I got pretty much all the wiring stripped off of this thing. Got the command center off. I got the main wiring harness off. And we're left with some of this important stuff here. We got the igniter and this. It's gonna be really hard to really explain how this is wired up. I'm gonna keep going over it, and I'm gonna try to give you a little wiring diagram that I'm going by, because obviously, you know, this is ridiculous. What I'm going to start off doing here is hooking up the regular rectifier and the igniter. These are the two most important parts of this whole bike here. That charges it, and that runs the ignition coils. And we already got the wires still intact out of the pickup coil going into the igniter, so that's all right. And these just go out to the ignition coils, and then this needs power to power this, I'm assuming, and then I don't quite know what these are for yet. I gotta figure that out. Then we're gonna hook this up. I still got the stock connector off of the regulator rectifier off of the wiring harness. So these three wires coming out of the stator, or out of the alternator, the three whites, and then the brown and green just get hooked up. They're from another part of the coil, I think. And then the red is the hot coming out of for charging, and the black is the ground. So it's relatively straightforward. I got all those wires on the other side here still. Let me show you. We're left with these are the wires coming out of the stator, or the charging, the alternator here. We've got our three whites and the brown and green. And I left the original connectors on here just to retain a little bit of stock something, so that they can be disconnected. Then I'll solder onto the ends of these. We still got the starter solenoid and whatnot. We'll get to that. I'm not quite there yet. Pro tip: I started pulling the wiring harness apart to save some wire that I can reuse instead of having to use up my wire or buy some wire or what have you. So on the other side, guys, I got the rectifier plugged in. Right here's the connections for that. It comes over through here. This is where it comes up out through the stator. And these 3 white wires here goes the rectifier, and there's also this other, that brown and the green. Remember if I soldered that. And I also got a hot coming out of the rectifier. Just put a long lead on it and cut it, and I also got a ground. It needs to be grounded. So this is the point where, okay, we got the solenoid over here. I'm actually pretty close to starting this bike up. I got a wire connect the ignition coils here, but we're almost close to having the basic wiring for it to run. But here's the starter solenoid, okay? The main positive battery cable goes to here, and it also jumps off to right here is a little hot cable too, and that'll be our main power. We've got to tie this from the rectifier into that. We'll make a little tree of a wire with just a couple splices out of it for power. We got to put a main fuse in here. I'm gonna grab one of the ones I pulled off the bike over here. Watch out, bud. And probably use one of these, one of the old fuse holders that were in there. Probably just save me a couple bucks. These type of fuse holders are actually all right. I kind of like them. They just use basic fuses. They're pretty nice actually. So I never use these. I'll probably just put one for the main, and then I'll put another one for like the headlight or something. So we can get by with 2 fuses really. Let me catch you up on this wiring here. I took off camera a little bit. So I started wiring up the hots here, and this is our main coming off the solenoid right here. I got that tied in with the rectifier that's pre-fused, and that's actually just in case the bike, something were to go wrong with the wiring and the fuse blew, the bike wouldn't just keep running off of the alternator and spitting out current. So we got that pre-fuse, so if something happens the bike will stop running and won't just run off the alternator. So and then we have this is like, I call this a tree. See, I'm spliced in over here. This wire is going to give power to the ignition module, and it's messy right now. I'll clean this up. And then this is going to be our main power going up to our coils here. I'm going to jump off both of those, and then also our main power going up to the steering to power a headlight and turn signals and all that junk. So that's our main power going up there. And I also had to put a ground in. This is gonna connect, I'm gonna connect this to the battery, to the negative. Put a little crimp end on there because the ignition module wanted its own ground, dedicated ground, and the rectifier is also grounded. And you could ground anywhere on the engine or the frame, but I might as well just hook up run a new ground wire. I'm probably gonna need it up here too. Last bike I wired, I did manage to just ground on a nice screw up at the top here and just didn't have to run a ground wire, but I don't see anything up there really to get it on, so probably just gonna run that wire. And then here's a view from this side where I'm at still haven't figured out what these do. I don't think they're an integral part. I think they might have had something to do with the side stand, because I'm bypassing a whole lot of junk that was on this bike. This had a side stand switch, it had a side stand relay, it had a start circuit cutoff relay, had all this stupid stuff that you don't need. So we're just bypassing all of that crap, and it's pretty much gonna be like chopper wiring. So that's what's happening here. I'm gonna do these coils next here, give them some power. And after I get power to the coils, this should be, if I connect the battery up over there and ground it, if I jump the solenoid and turn over, it actually should run. So it'll be on. I haven't wired up a kill switch. Oh, actually, yeah, we don't just jump this wire straight to the coils, because that's actually how you shut it off. We gotta have a kill switch in between these to cut power to the coils. So I'm gonna probably run this up here first. I'll probably just temporarily hook it up so it's on. I want to try to get this running. So give these power, and I'm gonna see if I can get this thing running at all. So a little update, guys. I did get the bike running, as you saw there. And for that test, I had just kind of jumped the hot off of my main fuse here just to get power to the coils, and we don't want that, so we got to run power all the way up to our main switch first, and then back down here to actually power the igniter and all that. However, we still can't take power from the rectifier. I'm still taking that pre-fuse straight back into the battery. And like I said, the reason for that is because in case something goes wrong, if we actually put that back up here and it blows, the bike could potentially still keep running if after the fuse blows just off the alternator. So we got that pre-fuse over there, so that way if something did short out and the fuse blew, it would cut the bike off. So right now I'm splicing off of my main power. I got the wire going all the way up here, and here's our two wires. One of our main hot wire is going to be plugged into our main switch, which I'm waiting for a new one to come in the mail, and then sending the power back down. It's going to be powering off of that. It's going to be powering the headlights, the turn signals, all that nonsense, even the coils. So we got to run a power down there, but we're actually got to run it through the kill switch first for the coils. So these two wires right here are for the kill switch. So we got to run one through there, and then into the power for the coils, which is right here off these red and whites. I'm gonna run it back to there so that we got our coils on our kill switch. And for a start button, since this is busted, I'm actually just gonna literally put momentary switch in the headlight. So we'll get to that. All right, well, I got the kill switch wired up. As you can see here, this is gonna be our main hot wire coming up here. I gotta plug that into the new switch when I get it. And off of that, we'll go into here and probably daisy chain a couple more things off here, like the headlight and whatnot. So, but we got our kill switch wired up. This switch over here is also going to run this auxiliary headlight. So I gotta hook that up, and also wire the high beam, low beam switch up over there, and figure out the turn signal stuff and possibly horn. And then actually the turn signal flasher is right under here. and I may end up stealing power from the cable I ran back down here for that. Post switch, of course, main switch. So here's the wire going to the power of the coils. Now it's off of the kill switch, and that's hooked up. So it's gonna keep rolling here. What am I gonna do next? Let's see. I'll probably start messing with the headlight stuff. I'm gonna go get the start switch and put it in the headlight, and I'll have to run these wires, which activate the solenoid, up to that momentary switch. Actually, you can just ground one of these to whatever, and then all you need is a hot supply through the momentary switch to pop this and pop the solenoid to start the bike.
Yeah, you'll scream at them and curse them out, and they're afraid of what you might do.
Listen, bitch, at straight bars, no, this is not the case. I'm the least intimidated.
Well, no, but then they let you go because they don't want to seem homophobic. So it's really a win-win. You know, wherever you are, nobody's going to say, "Get up, gay dude." Nobody's going to say that. Hey, Steve.
Hey guys, I can't believe you didn't catch on to this, but I just got called out Pound King for having said Pudding Bay. Sounds like he was saying Pudding Bay, and that might...
What did he say?
Pudding Bay? He's like, Pudding Bay. And that might be something he likes more. Bay.
I didn't even hear a difference. I didn't catch anything
I
weird.
didn't catch it either.
How do you say Puddin' Bay, Pound Cake?
Pudding Bay.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
That's what I
Maybe she's used to.
I just can't win. Like, even when I try to pronounce the word right, you're like, nope.
You were saying
Yeah,
value weird earlier.
I didn't hear anything. Did you say what?
Alright guys, I got the headlight and turn signals wired up now. You can see there's a bunch more wires on this thing. So the turn signals, wiring up those, you have a flasher unit, which is right here, okay? You have a main hot wire going into this, just off your main, one of your main hots here after the key switch. And then just simply coming out of it is another main hot. Any load on this from the load wire will cause that to flash. Then we have that going into our turn signal common, because the switch is basically a three-way switch, and then it just splits out to left and right. Those go to the individual actual blinkers. So that's actually pretty straightforward. It's not too bad. Then the headlight right here, just hooked it up to the switch again. Has the low and the high selector. We've got a ground, and just out of the harness for that switch control over there, I found the wires with an ohm meter. That's how you find them with an ohm meter, which ones go to what, or just, hey, try them out. So all I really got to do now is clean up this wiring, and this bike is ready to go. She is ready to roll. Just gonna put some zip ties on it. I'm knocking everything over here. Just gonna put some zip ties on this bad boy, and it will be ready to roll. So I got all the wiring wrapped up on this bike. Got zip ties on it, cleaned it up a little bit. It's under the seat, so everything is all hunky-dory on it. Got the turn signals working. See the aux lights on. The high-low switch works for the headlight. I just got to mount the headlight. Get a couple screws for that. We got ourselves some turn signals, and that there on the headlight is going to be our start button. And like I told you, that's because the freaking start button's blown out of there. This is the bike here, all wired up, and I've taken it really as far as I want to for what I'm doing with it. Whoever buys it can mess with the front calipers, rebuild those. Really, you just got to pop the pistons out and lube them up. But it's definitely needs some love. It does run with the new wiring. It's all dandy. Let's see here. Make sure we're not in gear, because we bypass the neutral switch, the clutch switch, all that bullshit, which always messes up on these bikes and leaves you stranded. Got headlight, kill switch is on, down. Hit our nice little start button. Oh, so now the turn signals want to work. Turn signals are giving me some crap. It's the contacts in this little switch here need cleaned. You probably just saw that left one was flashing. High-low works. We got our switch for our little yellow auxiliary light. The kickstand, I did ride it from the front to the back, but this kickstand needs a spring on it. It needs a couple little things like that, but it does run and move. I think perhaps the flasher or something is funny because now I revved it up and the bright turn signal came on. Oh, there we go. The turn signals are back. They weren't working because someone came and looked at it. They just didn't. The bike didn't want to go with that guy because that guy was a total dick. He really was. That guy was a total dick. But anyway, oh yeah, the brake light. Gotta put a rear brake switch on her. Oops, here we go. Got a nice little rear brake switch. Just needs a little bit of love. Kill switch works. I love my little Radio Shack start button. That's like the best. Look at the turn signals are all working now. Look, they're all about it. I couldn't get it to work a second ago. So, I bet the flasher unit under there is a little goofy. It ain't my wiring, trust me. I'm a fucking beast.